My name is Nicole Cooley. This is my Dispositions self-assessment survey. Educators should believe that all students can learn and should set and support realistic expectations for student success. I completely agree with this. I feel like if we set standards and expectations that are above what students can achieve, we're setting it up for failure. But if it's anything lower than what they realistically can achieve, we're giving them permission basically to slack off, which doesn't do anyone any good. It doesn't help them gain information, gain knowledge. We're not educating them as much as we could, but setting them too high is just going to make them feel inadequate, which then again, they're not going to learn. So the next one, educators should be sensitive to individual learning and social needs of students and embrace the cultural diversity of the community. Again, I really do agree with this. I think if we don't take into account the cultural diversity in a community, there's no way we can help students learn the way they're supposed to. If there are cultural differences, like someone speaks Spanish or they're from maybe a Middle Eastern or Mediterranean background, things are just going to be different for them than it is for some of the other students. And again, being sensitive to individual learning, one kid might be a visual learner while another is a very manipulative learner. So we need to be able to help all the students succeed, and be aware of which students each method will work best for. Educators should promote social justice and equity, maintain appropriate standards of confidentiality, and exercise fairness in all areas, including assessment. Again, I think this one's a little bit of a no-brainer. Of course, we're going to promote social justice and equity. We're not going to support students who bully or make inappropriate comments or who treat other students of different backgrounds or academic ability, physical ability differently. Maintaining appropriate standards of confidentiality. I think this one can be a little confusing for some people. I think, sharing information with your colleagues or even your class about certain students can get a little borderline on maintaining appropriate confidentiality. Like telling one teacher something versus something that maybe that student doesn't want people to know about their family life or their behavior. I think some teachers and even parents and family members just don't take all of that into account. And of course, exercising fairness. We don't want to play favorites. We're not going to give an easier assessment to one person over another. I mean, assessments need to gauge where they are in the overall. Obviously, some people get accommodations, but that is, again, confidential. It's a private matter. It's not for the class to discuss. Educators should exercise sound judgment and ethical behavior. Again, no brainer. I think we should definitely have sound judgment and be aware of our ethics. And again, I think this goes back to some things that we consider ethical. We might not realize when we're partaking in unethical behavior, like sharing information about students or casually talking to a friend about someone they may know who's in our class or that we know about through our school. I think just keeping ourselves aware of that can be the hardest part. I think all educators agree that they should do that, but taking the actual steps to do it can be a little bit confusing. Educators should recognize that reflection combined with experience leads to growth as a professional. I think this is true of both educators and students. If you can't reflect on your mistakes or what you've done in the past, I don't think you can grow. If you don't look back, there's no way to know what you did wrong to make yourself better. And maybe you didn't do something wrong, but maybe you see a way now that you could do it differently, that you could do it better. And we all want to grow as professionals. We don't want to just stay the same way we are when we very first start. That doesn't help us keep up with what's going on technologically, what's going on with our standards, with our education standards, with teaching standards, ethics. I think it is continually adding on to what we've done in the past. Educators should promote and support curiosity and encourage active inquiry. Of course, we want to promote and support curiosity and encourage this inquiry. So I do agree. I strongly agree that we need to do that. But I think we also need to remember the time and place for that. Students saying, can I go Google that information that we just read about? Well, no, it's not really an appropriate time. Why don't you do it during another time that's more appropriate? Student or educators should model integrity by their words and actions. Again, I'm not going to talk and act in a way that I wouldn't expect my students to talk and act. Educators should demonstrate professional friendliness, warmth, and genuine caring in their relationships with others while providing intellectual, emotional, and spiritual support. I didn't agree with this one as strongly. I think it's because I don't think it's always the place of an educator to give spiritual support. Because I don't know if in a public school system in particular, if spiritual support is really what students are looking for or what it's appropriate to give. Like my religious belief, my spiritual belief might not be the same as my students, so giving them that kind of support might not be appropriate. But of course, professional warmth, friendliness, caring, of course, and we want to give all that great attitude and intellectual, emotional support. Of course, we want to make sure our students are intellectually able and feel emotionally supported to get their work done and to be better people. Teachers understand the impact of community and involvement and servant leadership as it applies to the welfare of others in an educational setting. I think that teachers getting us involved in the community and helping with the servant leadership, I don't think students always know how much they can help their community, and I think that teachers helping with this, and I completely agree with this, that they can open a whole new world for students to get into. And educators should be committed to the profession of teaching and learning. I think that to be a great teacher, you not only have to teach your students, but you have to learn with them. And this is something I'm learning right now in my own job. I'm running RTI groups, and I'm learning a lot. And I tell my students, I'm not really sure about this one, but we're going to learn how to do it together. And I think that students hearing that shows them that the teacher is a person, that I don't know everything, or that, another one of their teachers probably doesn't know anything, or everything, not anything. And that, we don't have all the answers, but we're going to help them get to where they need to be. So that is the end of the list. So I guess I'm done. Thank you.